There is a kind of person you keep reaching for. The distant one. The one who is almost there but never quite. The one who runs warm one day and cool the next, so that you are forever leaning forward to close a gap that never fully closes. The one who cannot love you back. You have met them more than once. The faces change. The names change. The cities change. The stories change. The feeling does not. And every time, some part of you already knows how it ends, long before it ends. You can feel the ending arriving, even as the beginning is still bright, and you stay anyway, because the pull is older than your reasoning. You are not here to be scolded for this. You are not here to be fixed as though you were something that had gone wrong. You are here to finally understand it, because a thing understood loses its power to run your life without asking. So, before we go any further, let us set one thing down. This is not weakness. It is not foolishness. And it is not bad luck following you from person to person like a shadow you cannot outwalk. You are not broken for wanting to be loved. Wanting love is the most human thing there is. It is written into us before we have language for it, before we can name a single need. The newborn does not decide to want closeness. It simply reaches. So the reaching itself was never the problem. The reaching is your aliveness, still intact, still hoping, after everything you have been through. The ache you feel is not a flaw in you. It is a signal, pointing back towards something that has been waiting a long while to be seen. Pain, when we stop running from it, turns out to be a kind of messenger. It knows the address of the old wound and it keeps returning until someone finally answers the door. Because the truth is, you did not choose these people by chance. It only felt like chance. It felt like falling, like something that arrived from the outside and swept you off your feet. But something in you recognized them. Across a crowded room, out of everyone who was warm and available and kind, you felt drawn to the one who was not. A certain distance, a certain difficulty, a certain way of loving that always seems to stay just out of reach. To someone else, they might feel cold. To you, they felt like coming home. And that word, home, is where the whole mystery begins. Because home is not always the place that was safe. Home is the place that was familiar. And for many of us, those two were never quite the same place. Long ago, the researchers who studied how children bond with the ones who raise them noticed something that never fully leaves us. The way we are first loved becomes the template for how we expect love to feel for the rest of our lives. If love in your earliest world arrived mixed with distance, with waiting, with a hand that reached back only sometimes, then a part of you learned to call that mixture love. You learned that closeness comes with a catch, that affection has to be earned, that the people you need the most are the ones you can never fully count on. And a child cannot leave. A child cannot decide the love on offer is not enough and go looking somewhere better. So the child adapts. It learns to love the unreliable, because the unreliable is who is there, and being close to them is the only safety there is. In their book Attached, Amir Levine and Rachel Heller describe how some of us grow anxious in love, drawn again and again to the very partners who cannot quite meet us, because the longing itself feels so familiar. The waiting, the wondering, the ache of not quite enough, all of it registers not as a warning, but as recognition. A steady, available love can feel strange, almost dull. The nervous system was tuned to a harder frequency, and so calm can read as absence, and safety can feel like a nothing at all. And the one who keeps you reaching can feel like passion, when it is really an old wound lighting up again. Psychology has a name for this. We each carry an inner image of love formed in childhood, stitched together from the ones who first cared for us. Their warmth and their coldness, their presence and their absence, all of it woven into a single picture of what love is supposed to feel like. And without meaning to, we go looking for that image again, in grown-up form. not the person, but the pattern, not the face, but the particular feeling they once left in us. The relationship therapist Harville Hendrix wrote, "We choose our partners, and they have both the positive and the negative qualities of the people who raised us. So we are drawn to the one whose exact difficulty matches the difficulty we already know by heart." We are not always drawn to what is good for us. We are drawn to what is familiar, and then we call it chemistry. That sudden certainty, that electric sense of "I already know you," is often just the past, recognizing itself in a new face. But why would we return to something that once hurt us? Why would anyone walk back into the same fire, knowing exactly how it burns? Here is the hidden genius of the human heart. We do not go back to suffer, we go back to master, to set the old story on the stage once more, hoping that this time we can change the ending. The mind cannot let an unfinished thing rest. It restages the scene that was never resolved, casting new people in old roles, searching for the ending it never got to have. This time we think, without ever saying it out loud, "I will be enough." This time, the distant one will finally turn toward me and stay. This time, I will win the love that was withheld, and in winning it, I will prove that I was worthy of it all along. And so we choose someone who cannot stay, and we pour ourselves into earning a love that was never truly available, trying to heal an old wound in the one place where it can only open again. We cast the person least able to love us in the role of the one who finally will, and then we are heartbroken, again, when they play the part exactly as it was written. All of this happens beneath the surface, in a place we rarely look. It does not announce itself. It moves as instinct, as attraction, as the simple feeling that this one is different, and what we do not look at does not disappear. It simply runs the show from the shadows. Carl Jung wrote, "When an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside, as fate." Read that once more, slowly. What we refuse to see within us, we end up living out as circumstance. The wound we will not turn toward becomes the life we keep living. We meet it again and again in the world, in one face after another, and we call it fate. We say, "This always happens to me," never noticing that we are the single thread running through every one of those stories. But the moment you truly see the pattern begins to loosen its grip. What felt like fate becomes a choice again. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. The spell only holds while it stays in the dark, and you have already begun to carry it into the light. So let us bring it fully into the light. When you ache for the one who cannot love you back, look closely at what you are truly reaching for. Look past the person to the feeling you were hoping they would finally give you. Often it is not that person at all. It is a feeling you have been missing for a very long time. To be chosen, to be safe, to be enough without having to earn it, without having to perform or achieve or become anything other than exactly what you already are. The love you keep chasing on the outside is a love you have not yet learned to give yourself on the inside. You are asking another person to convince you of your own worth, and no one can ever do that job for you, no matter how deeply they love you. The wound is not proof that something is wrong with you. It is simply the place where love did not reach you once, a gap left by someone else long ago that you have been trying to fill from the outside ever since. And that place can be reached now, not by them. Real love is not the same as needing. They can feel almost alike from the inside, both of them urgent, both of them full of longing, and yet they move in opposite directions. Needing grasps and fears and holds on tight, anxious about the other person leaving, because it needs them in order to feel whole. Love opens its hands. The teacher Thich Nhat Hanh spent his life pointing to this difference between the love that clings and the love that liberates. In his book True Love, he wrote, You must love in such a way that the person you love feels free. Notice how far that is from the ache you know. The love you keep chasing makes you anxious and small and unsure of your worth. It shrieks you. It has you checking and waiting and reading meaning into silences. Real love makes you free. It hands you back to yourself, larger than you were before. And a love that leaves you free is a love you can also learn to offer yourself. To stop grasping at your own reflection in someone else's eyes, and to become, at last, a safe place of your own. So here is where the pattern ends, and something new begins. Not with a better version of the distant one, but with you, turning toward yourself the way you always hoped someone else finally would. You do not have to keep auditioning for people who cannot see you. You do not have to keep performing for a love that was never going to be given, no matter how well you played the part. You can become the steady, present love you were always reaching toward. You can learn to feel safe with the ones who are actually safe. To let a kind, available love come close, even when it feels unfamiliar at first, especially then, because the discomfort you feel with steady love is not a sign that it is wrong. It is only the old pattern meeting something it does not recognize and slowly learning a new way to be held. The distant ones were never your destiny. They were your teachers, showing you the exact shape of the love you are here to finally receive. Every one of them was pointing, without knowing it, at the tender place still waiting inside you. The next time someone who cannot love you back appears, and someone will, you will feel the old pull rise, that familiar gravity, that sense of coming home. And this time, you will know its name. You will feel it, and you will understand it, and you will no longer have to obey it. You were never falling for the wrong people by accident. You were being shown again and again, with great patience, the long way back to yourself. If these words found something in you tonight, you are warmly invited to subscribe. Stay a while, breathe easy, and find your way home to yourself.